Patriots Day finally came out this past weekend, which means now I've finally been able to see it, now I can talk about it, and now I can actually wear my Boston Strong t-shirt and it actually have something to do with the movie I'm talking about. So as I'm sure you all know, Patriots Day tells the story of the Boston Marathon bombing, what led up towards it, what happened during it, and the manhunt for the bombers who caused it. And this was a movie that I was really excited to see for a multitude of reasons. For one, as I'm sure most of you know, I'm from Massachusetts, so this event is something that especially hits home with me. But not simply the fact that I'm from Massachusetts and the fact that this event occurred in Boston that it had that kind of effect on me, but this event felt very personal for someone like me, and I'll explain why. I remember it was my freshman year of college. I was just sitting in my calculus class, and I feel my phone vibrating, and I can see one of my best friends from home is just blowing up my phone. He's all like, dude, did you hear about the marathon? Did you hear about the bombings? Did you hear what happened? And because I was basically in class all day, I had no chance to really go on social media, so this was all news to me from what my friend was telling me. And what really made it harder for me on that day was the fact that one of my other really good friends was in the marathon. So the very second that my friend had explained to me what happened and I knew what was going on, it was one of the most scary moments of my life because I was trying to text my other friend to make sure that he was okay. I wasn't hearing from him for a very long time, and it had me wondering, did he get out of there alive? Luckily for me though, he ended up texting me back, letting me know that, he was okay, that nothing had happened to him. He was one of the fortunate ones who was able to get away unharmed. So as a result, when all of this was going on, I was following the story very closely immediately after it happened, and I just really admired just the level that Boston went through to not only help those that were wounded or harmed from the explosions, but also their attempts in hunting down the fucking assholes who did this. So as a result, I was really looking forward to this movie, not just because I wanted to see it tell the story to how I already knew it to be, but also if it would show me anything that I didn't know about it. So right out the gate, one of the things that I loved about Patriots Day is the first act of this movie. It touches on all of the really important characters of this movie. On one side, you have Mark Wahlberg. He's a police sergeant. He's married to Michelle Monaghan. He works under the police commissioner, played by John Goodman. And then the movie flashes to this young married couple who are currently planning their day to go into Boston the next day to check out the Red Sox, to check out the marathon. We see J.K. Simmons playing this police sergeant from Watertown. We see Sean Collier, who's another one of the officers that plays a big part in this movie. We also see a young Asian student played by Jimmy O. Yang. I believe that's how his name is pronounced. And we also see a little bit on the backstory between Dzhokhar and Tamerlan Tsarnaev, the two brothers who bombed the marathon and why they did it according to their Muslim faith. And what's really nice about that first act is you see the movie really touching on each of the characters. It has you feel like the characters are going to be important, but it also has you sitting there wondering, if you don't know maybe a whole lot about the story, exactly what kind of role these people played into the marathon. And then getting into the second half, when the bombing in the marathon occurs, this is where the movie hits another level of intensity, because the movie did such a great job at showing all the panic and chaos and just all of the mayhem that started to occur the second it happened. And the movie unapologetically doesn't hold back on anything that happened. Like when people lost their legs, lost their limbs, lost their lives, it shows it. It doesn't hold it back. I mean, the young couple that I talked about, they each at least lost one of their legs from the explosion. So many people left without their limbs. A few people died from the explosions, one of which was an 8-year-old boy with his whole life ahead of him. But it's also in these moments where it makes you really lose faith in humanity because of the fact that two people tried to kill all these innocent people. You really also see the good in people, in not just the police officers and the medical people who are trying to tend to all these injured people, but you see a lot of the runners who came to try to help the injured as best as they could in this situation. So yeah, the explosion was certainly disturbing. It wasn't easy to watch, but it also gives you an appreciation for those who really went above and beyond to try to help those who were affected by this. But later on, there was this one scene in particular with Mark Wahlberg that just really hit me where I live, because he comes home to his wife. He is in tears. He's crying because at one point he asked his wife to come to the marathon to bring him a knee brace because he needs a knee brace to do his job, and he realizes in that moment that his wife could have been killed, and in that moment he feels like he's responsible for that because he told her to come out here and she almost could have been killed in his heart because of him. You can just see how overwhelming emotionally it would be for anyone who maybe had a loved one that was in the marathon, or in more so of a case, that they went to the marathon because of them. But it's also in this moment that Mark Wahlberg knows that the people who caused this bombing, they're still out there and they need to be stopped now. And it's around this time Kevin Bacon appears in this movie. He plays the FBI special agent who was the leader of the investigation to what happened in the bombing. And he's immediately able to conclude that this was an act of terrorism, and as a result of that, the FBI now has to be involved. But what I also loved is seeing in this moment just how complicated and how hard this investigation was. I mean, obviously you see all these FBI agents trying to do the work to try to set up the crime scene, all the police officers trying to help them with any details that they can give them, but also in the fact that because something like this was so huge, they know that if they have a suspect, if they have an accusation, they need to know it's absolutely certain. Like Kevin Bacon is discussing it with the Massachusetts Police Department over why they have some photos of possible suspects, but he doesn't want to release them yet because, one, the photos are kind of blurry, and he's also sitting there like, what if these aren't the real guys? We can't just let people accuse someone else of doing this if they didn't do it. Eventually, however, the photos are released to the public, and it's right here you really see how overwhelming it continues to be for some people. Because one of the great points that John Goodman made was he points out that these bombers are someone's neighbors, they're someone's family, they're someone's friends. And because one of the brothers went to college, he actually had a group of friends, and they actually wound up in his dorm room, and they end up watching on TV, seeing pictures of one of the brothers, and they realized that he was probably someone involved in these bombings, even discovering bomb equipment in his room. And you can really see how overwhelming it is for these guys in seeing that one of their friends, someone they hung out with, is a terrorist who tried to kill several innocent people. So it's at this point the brothers have now seen that their pictures have been released on TV, and now they know they need to make their escape in order to avoid being caught. And it's from this point forward we really see the level of pieces of shit that these guys were. I mean, they were already horrible human beings for causing those bombings, but now you really just see how despicable they were of human beings. And I know there are probably going to be people out there who are going to probably write in the comment section like, oh, you're just so against them because they're Muslims. Not at all the case. I have absolutely nothing against people of Muslim faith. In fact, when I was in college, one of my really good friends was a Muslim, and he was one of the nicest guys I've ever met. I call them disgusting human beings because I think everyone in this world can agree on that. But in this moment, you see one of Zolkar's friends send him a text like, hey, your photo's on TV. And he like sends back, yeah, I know, ha ha ha. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? He is laughing at the fact that he set off these explosions, killed a few people, mortally wounded several others. It's pathetic. And then we see the older brother Tamerlan. He's kind of been the ringleader of the two of them, you know, telling Zolkar what to do, how they need to approach it, bossing him around kind of deal. He tells his brother that it's time to leave. Keep in mind, Tamerlan has a wife and a young daughter. He is preparing his leave. His wife tries to kiss him goodbye. He doesn't even do that. Doesn't even acknowledge his daughter goodbye. It's like, really, these guys don't give a fuck about anybody. I guess I can't really say I'm surprised by that, but I guess you would think if anyone they'd care about, it'd be their families, especially if one of them has a wife and daughter. Apparently not. So now the brothers know they need to make their escape. They need to get the hell out of Massachusetts before anyone finds them. But they also know there's probably going to come a time when they're going to need to defend themselves. So Zolkar knows he needs to get a gun. So he and his brother, they find Sean Coulier, you know, that officer I told you about earlier. They kill him and they take his gun. And now it's right around here where the movie really hits a level of intensity that actually had me on the edge of my seat for a really, really, really long time. They know they can no longer drive the car that they have because it's going to be tracked by the cops, so they know they now need to carjack somebody. So they end up finding Jimmy O Yang's car. He's just sitting in there, you know, minding his own business, and Tamerlan comes up to him, points a gun at him, and he says, do you have people who care about you? Do you want to live? So they force Jimmy O Yang to give him their car, give it up to them, but they also don't let him leave. They have him stay right where he's at in the car with them, and they tell him that if he wants to live, he has to do as they say. They go so far to tell him that they were the ones who caused the bombing. They even tell him how, oh, America is fake as fuck. You do know that the 9/11 explosions, they were caused by the government so the world would hate Muslims. They're full of shit. They rob him of his debit card. They also tell him that their plans are now to go to New York City to bomb Times Square. And right here, it's in this moment you really need to try to put yourself in this guy's shoes. These two brothers who have told you to your face that they're the ones who caused the bombings, have pulled a gun on you, have taken your car, still have you in the car, are telling you all of this, and they plan to take you with them all the way to New York City to bomb Times Square. And you can just imagine everything that's going through his head. He's probably thinking to himself, what if they try to blame the bombings on me? What if they force me to be a part of this upcoming bombing? Am I gonna get out of here alive? So it's by now the three of them have pulled up to this gas station. They're here to get fuel and food for, however long they need to get to New York. But it's at this point you see Jimmy O Yang thinking to himself, and you can tell he's probably thinking something along the lines of, these guys are not gonna let me go. They're clearly never ever going to trust me to not tell anyone that they're the bombers. Who knows what they're gonna do to me? Who knows what they're gonna have me do going forward? Point is, at some point or another, maybe not now, they're going to kill me. I gotta get out of here right now. Because at this point, he does the biggest, ballsiest move that he can do. At one point, Zolkar has gone inside to get food. Tamerlan's now typing in the address to get to New York City. And what does Jimmy O Yang do in this moment? As fast as he fucking possibly can, he unbuckles the seatbelt, he gets the fuck out of the car, and he just runs straight for the next gas station, and he tells them to call the police right now. So at this point, Mark Wahlberg and the other police officers, they arrive, they speak with Jimmy O Yang, he explains to them what happened, and he also gives them the GPS tracker in his car so they can track them down. So now at this point, the brothers make it to this small neighborhood, but now police officers have tracked them down, and now an all-out firefight ensues. It's right here, J.K. Simmons and his unit have showed up, they're engaging in this all-out firefight with the brothers are shooting at them, they're throwing bombs at their cars. I mean, the firefight, it's intense, it's nuts. I mean, what happened in real life, and what's scarier is this happened in a small little neighborhood in Boston when people were just sleeping, minding their own business. I mean, just imagine, look outside your house and a fucking firefight was going on between police officers and these terrorists. It gets to a point when Tamerlan is badly wounded from one of the gunshots. He gives everything to his brother. He tells him to finish the mission, and it's in this point Zolkar just gets into the car, he ends up running over Tamerlan, which kills him, and now Zolkar is on the run from the police. So now it's also at this point, after Tamerlan has been pronounced dead, they bring in his wife, Catherine Russell, for questioning. But it gets to a point that they see that she has just such a devotion to her husband that she will not say anything. What their plans were, what if she knew about it, anything. Nothing. It's just scary to see that someone won't divulge anything that could save people's lives. Even scarier to the fact that she might have been aware that he attempted to kill a bunch of people. It finally gets to a point when Deval Patrick, the governor of Massachusetts, orders the entire city of Boston on lockdown, which basically means all the businesses in the cities are closed, all the exits are blocked off, no one is allowed to leave their homes, basically saying every inch of the city is getting searched and no one gets in or out of the city until this motherfucker is caught. I just love seeing that. I loved hearing about it, that Boston just went that far to catch this guy, but it's even more amazing just seeing how it actually went down. It's just honestly a moment that really made me proud that I am a Bostonian, and just seeing just how far this city went to catch this guy, that they're not going to let anyone come into this city and mess with it. Big Papi said it best.
This is our fucking city.
Amen to that. So now it's at this point, the entire Massachusetts Police Department, they're looking everywhere, in people's homes, in buildings, just anywhere that Zolkar may be hiding. And finally it gets to a point when a local man is just in his backyard, he suspects some movement in his boat. He ends up reporting it to the police, they come to investigate it, and they soon discover that Zolkar has been hiding in this boat. They quickly surround it, they force him out of there, and he is finally arrested. And then the movie basically wraps up just by meeting with some of the real life people who were in this movie, the couple that had their legs amputated, how they're dealing with life now, the support they received from Boston. The Boston police also just breaking down how hard it was to find these guys, but the determination that went along with it. We also get a brief glimpse of how the Boston Red Sox had honored the Boston police during one of their games. And the movie also shows that Zolkar has been sentenced to death by lethal injection, and he's currently in federal prison awaiting his appeal. But let's be real, that motherfucker's not getting any sort of appeal. He's gonna get a needle, he's gonna die, and then he's gonna join his brother in burning in hell for eternity while getting fucked in the ass every day by Satan. So all in all, Patriots Day was a great film. Everyone in this movie did a fantastic job. Mark Wahlberg was great, John Goodman was great, J.K. Simmons was great, Kevin Bacon was great. Even the lesser known actors, they all did a really good job too. I mean, those who played the couple that was injured from the bombing, and then, you know, you have the driver that was carjacked by the brothers. Even the actors who played the brothers, we gotta give them credit. They were excellent in this movie. The movie has a lot of really intense moments and dramatic moments and also heartfelt moments, and just seeing how far Boston went to stop these guys. But what's also fantastic is it is a movie that brings out the best and worst in humanity. You know, it shows the worst in the fact that it shows that there are terrorists out there who will kill innocent people because they don't share their beliefs, but it also shows the good in humanity in people going out of their way to help those who are hurt, who are wounded, and just going so far as they will to stop those who are causing this trouble. Honestly, my only real flaw with this movie is I didn't get to see it in 2016 because I'm almost certain it would have made my top 10 best list. People will say I'm being biased from that because I'm from Boston, and yeah, maybe that has a little bit to do with it, but in the end, this was a great movie. In the end, the reviews honestly say it best. This may not have been the movie we were asking for, but it's definitely one that we all needed to see. So that's all I gotta say, guys. Thank you so much for watching my video. Don't forget to leave a comment, like, subscribe, and I will see you all next time. Boston strong, baby.